Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks. Those are the moments that make all the difference, and that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Brooke. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. I am so excited for this conversation. How are you today, my friend?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be such a good conversation. I asked you to be part of this summit because, everything we're going to get into, you guys, if you're new to Brooke's world, you're going to love her by the end. But you just have such a beautiful way of teaching about somatic dance, but embodying it and embodying embodiment, if we could even get more to embody the embodiment. And I just love, I've been physically with you at the As She Rises conference where you led a somatic dance party, and that was incredible. And I also just love how you teach and how you speak about the nervous system and dance and how that intertwines with your story. You're just such an inspiration. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Such an honor.
So for anybody that is new to your world and to your work, let's just start here. Let's just start with a little bit about who you are and your business.
Yeah, so my name is Brooke, and who am I? I grew up in small town Ontario here in Canada, and I come from a Mennonite background where we weren't really allowed to dance, technically, but my family was trailblazers, so I grew up dancing. I also grew up struggling a lot with anxiety, depression, and an eating disorder as a teenager. And, I went to university to study psychology, and I was fascinated by dance psychology and movement and dance therapy. And so I started going down all the different rabbit holes of healing, of dance healing, of Reiki and energetic healing. And I was just fascinated by the world of healing, to be honest. My mother was a healer. She was a nurse who had left nursing and gotten into healing. So she was a energy healer and a hypnotherapist and all these amazing things. So I went down the rabbit hole of dance and movement therapy, which led me to learning different modalities, from an ecstatic dance modality called Dancing Freedom to another modality called Groove. And I traveled the world teaching Groove, training instructors, teaching that in schools for a few years. And I fell in love with dance and movement as healing. I also worked in mental health and would bring movement and dance into everything that we talked about and everything that we taught, and mindfulness. And then I ran a company for about 6 years in Vancouver doing mental health work through dance. So my background is like dance healing, mental health, energy healing. And it was in just a couple of years ago when the pandemic hit and it shut down my school business. I really stepped into the world of coaching and healing and teaching people to connect to their feminine and their intuition and how to channel and all of these really incredible things. And I would weave dance into whatever I taught. And it created such a powerful transformation for people. And I really saw that there was a gap missing in the coaching and healing world with people talking about embodiment and transformation, but I knew that through dance, we could create a deeper and more lasting transformation because we were getting people out of their heads and into their bodies and experiencing the transformation. So that is where Dance Alchemy was birthed, was from this place of I wanted to help people connect them to their bodies and experience aliveness and transformation and healing. And so Dance Alchemy was birthed, and about 6 months after I launched it, I went through a divorce. And it really became my medicine to help me move through the grief, the sadness, the loss, the anger, and all of the different emotions associated with that, and helped me to transmute, to alchemize those. And it really ignited this creativity and this connection to my purpose and this fire inside of me. And by sharing about my journey, other people got inspired, and other people started dancing and healing from eating disorders or from all different things that people have moved through, depression, anxiety, so many different things. And it became a global movement. And so now Dance Alchemy, we have 130 instructors on 4 continents and growing, facilitating Dance Alchemy classes and workshops, events, coaches and healers bringing Dance Alchemy into what they're already teaching to help deepen the impact and get their message, get their energy, get their impact to more powerfully out there in the world, right? So what I have come to realize is dance is an amplifier. It amplifies people's message. It amplifies what they're doing, and it helps create deeper and more lasting change. It's also really, really fun. And when we're having fun, we transform. So I really have come to realize that fun and play and joy are a big part of the transformation process.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's so much there that I love. This is why I wanted you here, is to, really speak on this. But for a lot of us, it has been difficult to be in the body or to express ourselves. And dance is such a beautiful way, even just for myself in my own home, where I don't have to worry about what I look like or specific moves. I'm not the one posting the TikTok dances. I can't dance like that. But oh my goodness, how, as you touched on, emotion can flow through you and you can just feel it and not be in your head. Something I kind of wanted to ask you about and point to is, you had this education in dance for a while, but then when the divorce hit you, that was a time where you really practiced that more. And a lot of times when we're going through hard times, we get away from our practices. We get away from those things that are healthy. So while you were going through that time, how did it help you?
You know, I had gone through hard times before that divorce. I just had never had the tools or the understanding of what was happening in my body, in my nervous system, or the capacity or ability to really be with my deeper emotions, the anger, the sadness, the pain. And so when I was moving through something, say it was anger, I would put music on that made me feel angry. And instead of running from it, instead of pushing it away, I would lean into it. I would dance with it. I'd allow myself to feel anger. I would scream. I would cry. I would rage in a way that, because if we're not feeling our emotions, we push them down and they get stuck. Often they get stuck in there as anxiety, as overwhelm, as panic. But by letting it move, by letting it flow, it allowed it to release from my body, and it no longer had power over me. And so I did that with any emotion that came up, and I allowed myself to go on these dance journeys to really feel these emotions. And the journey we take people through with Dance Alchemy allows for, first we ground and we give our body and our nervous system permission and safety so that it can open. Because if there isn't safety, there's no healing that's done without safety. And then I moved into whatever emotion that was. So this is exactly what I teach. And really it was just about, instead of denying myself the human experience, which was very real and very intense, I let myself feel it all. And it's like I became friends with my shadow emotions, my darker emotions, the emotions that often we're running from or hiding from because it can feel like a lot.
Mm.
And in doing that, there's such a deep acceptance. And when you really start to understand like parts work, which is what we teach and go into in the Dance Alchemy certification, and inner child work, it's like I was able to allow all of these different parts and all of these different inner children to feel and to be expressed. Because, children, they're triggered by something, and maybe it doesn't seem rational to the adult mind, but it is an emotion and it's a human experience. And sometimes in our journeys of healing, we can be like, I don't know why I feel so upset. I know that this isn't the reason, right? Or this trigger. Or maybe you're like, no, I'm just fucking pissed at that person. Or I'm just like really, and it's like giving yourself permission to feel that, to express that, to move that, to be with it without trying to change it is the medicine. And I just find that dance helps that. And then by moving our bodies, it also helps to move the energy because emotions get stuck in the body. And when they're not expressed, when they're not moved, it can really create a lot of chaos in the system and a lot of stagnant, intense energy.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. I've more in the last few years into how emotion can get stored, and then there's chronic pain and inflammation or gut issues, like these very real physical sensations. And I'd almost like to just hear you speak on that for a second, on how these emotions, how we can start to identify if emotions are stored in our body and we need to move them, and even where we start or what we can begin to do to move that.
Right. Yeah, so different emotions get stuck in different parts of the body. And while there are some road maps as to where they get stuck based on different traditions, Chinese medicine, different esoteric traditions, in my experience of just like allowing the body to feel the emotion and move it, it can really release it. And when an emotion is stuck for too long in a certain part of the body, a trauma, an emotion, that's often when it turns into disease.
Mm.
So we will, I find that when we are denying ourselves the human experience, the human emotions, they get trapped, and that culminates into disease. So if you're having stomach and gut issues, often it's an inability to fully digest life, right? To fully feel, to fully process. Often our bodies shut down when it's undergoing big stresses. And so we're coping. Our bodies are always coping. And this is why you see people with, chronic inflammation or autoimmune diseases, all these different things. When you actually go into it and get to the root of it and allow yourself to feel what's under there, it can completely release that disease from the body. And there's tons and tons of evidence and experiences of this. Now, the medical world isn't always doing the tests to prove this, as we know. That's not their prerogative, is actually helping people heal. So you're not going to find a ton of double-blind studies on this. But the more and more you get into it and have real conversations with real people about what they've done, the amount of things that can get released from our body from feeling and moving the energy is phenomenal. And I really believe, and I've been fascinated by this since I was a child, and my father was diagnosed with 4th stage non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and given a few months to live. And I was always so fascinated by, like, he became a miracle patient. He's still alive today,
Wow.
35 years later. And I just became so fascinated by the power of the mind and the power of our own healing and our ability to heal, because I witnessed a medical miracle
Mm.
at such an early age, and I saw him battle that cancer for 2 years and almost die a couple of times. But it really opened my eyes to, like, the power of our mind and our subconscious and the power we have to heal.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. What a powerful thing to experience, because we know, although it was scary, I'm sure, seeing your dad go through that, but we know those things that we see when we're young, it kind of predispositions us to believe in what's possible. They say if you have someone famous in your family, there's more chance you're going to go for fame because you saw it to be possible, right? And so it's interesting, the things that you saw growing up. And even though you weren't encouraged to dance, you always had this pull toward, the body is such a key in all of this and what is possible. And I'd love to take what you just said, like the power of the mind and the power of the body. And I almost just want to hear you jam out on, our mind and our mindset is so important. But when we miss the body part, we tend to do ourselves a disservice. So I almost want to hear, the mindset, or just hear your perspective on how the mindset work takes us a certain distance, but how often we've forgotten the body aspect of it, or it's just about the beliefs and we haven't brought it into the body. I'd just love to hear any words you have around that and how we can take it just beyond the mind and into the body.
In our healing, we've become very intellectual. We want to understand, we want to know. And that just comes from a very head driven society, right? Like we grew up in a school where it's all very heady. Everything we do, we're trying to figure it out, justify it, figure out the reasons why. And I love understanding why, right? And many of us can name, I have these problems because of this trauma at this age. Like we can name it, right? We know our stuff at this stage of healing, many of us. And yet, so many people are still spinning the same patterns. Why? Well, because the work that we need to do is deeper now. We get to do this deeper work. We get to do the deeper work on a somatic level. We get to heal and feel and be with these different parts of ourselves. And when we do that, we release it from a deeper level. So it's almost like the brain, the mind, the understanding is level one, and the body and releasing it from the somatics, from the nervous system is like level two, right? And so when we allow ourselves to do that, we don't always even need to know the story behind it. We don't always need to understand. Sometimes we just need to move that anger or frustration or sadness. And sometimes when we attach the story and we're trying to figure out why do I feel so sad right now? We can latch on and it can actually become this cycle of like, oh, I feel sad about this. And then it becomes perpetuating versus, can I just release this energy from my body? Can I just let myself move? And that's okay, And it allows us to create so much more freedom in the body. We also really work with the nervous system and polyvagal theory and really understanding, when we have had traumas at any point in our lives, but a lot of the traumas and the emotions that we carry come from things that happened to us when we were younger. And that's what gets stored in our body. And so, people with chronic anxiety, often their body is still in that fight flight response because something happened and that response turned on to protect them. And especially for chronic trauma, like a household where someone was sick for a few years and the whole house was in a state of instability and fear, right? With abuse, with all these different things, most of us have had these nervous systems that are jacked up for far too long. And then we live as adults in this state of fear and anxiety. And so but that happens, understanding that, we can understand that, like, me even speaking this, you're like, oh yeah, I know fight, flight, freeze. Like everyone kind of knows that. But when you actually really give yourself the chance to breathe and to shake and to move that energy and to release that energy, you can feel what it feels like to be in a calm, connected state, right? So the body just really holds a lot of the keys.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you say that. It's like the mind, I mean, it all works together. It's not black or white, it's not one or the other. But the mind has been so useful for us to identify these things and to stop and go, wait a minute, I'm falling into lack or scarcity. As you said, everybody listening, we've done so much of that work, and we've realized a lot of things about ourselves. But the body is the place, from what I hear from what you're saying, is like the place that experiences it too, right? Like it's one thing to say I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough from my head, as something that like someone told me to say. I'm going to say it 75 times and it's very tangible in the mind. It's another thing to have the experience of feeling enough, even if it's for 10 seconds of that holy crap, or you start living from that place. Those are two different things. And we go from knowing it into feeling it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when the nervous system can release that, it can start to return to a state of peace, of calm. And when we can return to that, we are more connected and we're more free.
Mm-hmm. I love that you say that, because you say like we can return to a place of peace and calm. And you were also saying before about how we can dance out, move out frustration, anger, shame, rage, like whatever it is. And it's beautiful how those two coexist. And I almost want to hear you speak to that. Like we know that we want to be more calm, but to be more calm all the time is unrealistic. We have these emotions you're sharing with us. We can dance it out. We can cry it out, stomp it out if that's what we're feeling. But it's funny how by allowing ourselves to feel those quote unquote darker things or the discomfort, we do come back to a place of calm. But this time it's not forced, it's sort of flowed into, if you know what I mean. I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, it's like the body needs to know that it's safe before it can be calm. And if it still is living in a state of fear, in a state of fight or flight or freeze, it doesn't feel safe. It's in defense mechanism. Now, for so many of us, we need to release that energy because it's been built up for years and years and years and years. So by shaking, by moving, it's allowing the body to return. It's allowing whatever it is that fear or that trauma was, it's allowing it to be released so it can return to this state of calm, which is our natural state. It's just the different things that have happened to us that have put us on this high alert. And then, if we were animals in the wild, like when an animal in the wild is being chased, when it gets to safety, it's going to shake, it's going to release that. But we don't do that necessarily, right? We don't do that. And in fact, when we look at children, so often, they're throwing a tantrum, they're doing these things, they have big emotions that a lot of adults have a hard time being with. And so we're telling them, calm down, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. And that's actually quite detrimental, because if kids are allowed to actually feel and given the space to feel and be safe, they don't need to store those emotions, and they often don't. Now, not every a lot of kids and a lot of people don't have the privilege of being in a safe household, which is why as an adult it can take time for us to really release the impact and the trauma that earlier experiences have had.
That's really powerful. I realize that becoming a parent, I'm definitely not perfect. And there are times when I witness, a kid is like really having a hard time, maybe even really sad about something. And I recognize now more I need to be able to hold that space for them. And it's about my discomfort that wants to go, no, 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 it's okay. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Oh, no, no. And it's interesting when because you want to comfort, you're a parent or a caregiver. You just, oh, no, it's okay, sweetie. You don't want them to feel bad. But we all feel, disappointment. We all have lost something and we feel sad, or we feel left out, or we feel, these are part of the parts of the human experience. And so I'd love to hear a bit about the dance aspect of it, and whether someone is, as we were talking about, coming from dance background or absolutely not. How can we start to put this into practice? How can we start to, allow ourselves to experience what you're talking about in Dance Alchemy, alchemize these emotions through that? Where do we start?
Well, you're always welcome to come to a Dance Alchemy class. We have them online. That's a beautiful place. But also Putting a song on and letting your body move, like letting it move in a way, like really listening to it. What does it want to do? Things like shaking, stomping, swaying, rocking, rolling around on the ground. These are all really, really great places to start that can, depending on what it is, dispel the energy or soothe the nervous system. So there's a lot of different ways that we can really support our bodies and our nervous systems through movement. But really, it's about listening to your body and not overthinking it.
Yeah. So do you dance every day? Like, do you kind of have it be part of your routine that you do in a day?
Yeah, I do. Start my day with dance. Yeah. I will definitely tune in to where my body's at because I like to meet. I think it's really important that we meet ourselves where we're at, whether that's sadness, anger, frustration, and that we start there. And then as we move into it, as you go into it, it starts to dissipate and you come back to peace, you come back to joy, you come back to that lightness. There are other days where I just know I have a really full day and I'm like, today I don't have time to go into my emotions and to cry. I just really want to prime my body. I just really want to get into a good state of mind so I can show up for myself in the world. And then I'll put on more inspiring music and really dance and just like get myself into that state, right? Because we get a choice. We don't always have to be processing our emotions every time an emotion comes up. I think there's a balance, especially when we have big missions and we're out there in the world showing up for the world. Like there's also the like, okay, right now I don't have the space to go in and cry and be sad. I really have some clients to work with and I have to teach today or whatever that may be. But then giving myself the space when I do have the space and time to do that.
Yeah, I love that you say that too. It's not this big thing you have to do. It's just allowing that music to support you and, allowing it if you need to pep up before a big thing, throwing on that music. And as you said before, just really tuning into how your body wants to move. And for any of you type A's, it doesn't have to look a certain way. It's not doing it right or wrong.
Yeah, and in Dance Alchemy, we actually do for parts of the class, especially the beginning, we do teach moves
Mm,
because we actually have a very simple structure that gets people out of their heads and into their bodies. Because most people are pretty shut down in their bodies and don't know how to move.
mm.
And this is what sets us apart from, say, an ecstatic dance where it's like, do whatever you want. That's great. And there's a lot of benefit to that. But a lot of people are so disconnected from their bodies. And we have some actual moves that we can teach you that are really powerful to dispel the energy. And once you learn them, just like anything else, now you can use them at any point. So Dance Alchemy is a modality where we teach you movements, we teach you how to move the energy, and we give you lots of freedom to do it in your own way as well.
Oh, I love that. Oh, this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much.
You're
So
so welcome.
as we start wrapping up, why do you feel that dance has been so important in your transformation and why is it so important when it comes to true transformation?
You know, it's so important for me because I love it. It is the thing that has worked the best for me. I feel the most alive when I dance, and sometimes that's the most angry or sad, and often that's the happiest and most joyous and the most euphoric. Like I could reach states of euphoria on the dance floor. And so for me, it's just because it's the most fun way to do it. And so when we enjoy doing something, we're going to do it more. So for me, I've always loved dance. And I find a lot of people in my world are drawn to that because they've always loved it or they've just gotten into it and they're like, oh my gosh, I always was afraid of dancing and it's now my biggest joy. So, yeah, it's so important because I love doing it. And when you love doing something, you're going to do it, right? When you're doing something, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I know it's good for me. You're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be something that you love. And yeah, I just love hearing about this so much. Thank you again. And you have a free gift for us, for everybody in the community. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so I have the Somatic Business Breakthrough, which is a really great masterclass that I taught all about having a breakthrough in your coaching and healing business or finances or really any area of your life through somatic healing and dance. And there is a Dance Alchemy class in there on day 2. It's a 3-day masterclass. So day 1 and more teaching. Day 2 is a Dance Alchemy class. So if you just want to dance with me, skip right to that. And then day 3, there's like some powerful meditations and activations in there. So it's a really, really cool masterclass that I taught.
Thank you so much. That's so generous. Oh, that sounds so powerful. And I'll, of course, put that in the show notes. And if you're on the insider circle, you will have that emailed to your inbox, the link for that. And this week, we have you're entering or you're putting something into the prize draw. Someone is going to win a month in your membership. Can you tell us about that for the lucky winner and also for anyone else that wants to jump in?
Yes, so the membership is called the Embodied Woman's Revolution, and we have incredible, many of our incredible Dance Alchemy instructors, as well as other experts that I've brought in that will be facilitating different workshops and classes all around somatic healing, parts work, dance work, feminine embodiment. There's one of our women focuses on eating disorders, perimenopause. There's all different workshops in that membership. So there's 2 or 3 classes taught live every single week by one of our experts, as well as by myself. And it's so much fun. So come and become this embodied woman. We are starting a revolution of embodied women.
Oh my goodness, we all need to be a part of that. Thank you so much. This again has been so powerful and it's so appreciated, Brooke.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. If you want to take your own personal transformation deeper, grab a copy of my book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, and make sure to tune in to the next guest expert. Have a fantastic day.